प्रातः स्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वं सच्चित्सुखं परमहं सगतिं तुरीयम् यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनं पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानं विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। We'll chant from verses number 14 to 18. Verse number 14 to verse number 18 of chapter 7. दैवी हेषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां तरन्ति ते। दैवी हेषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां तरन्ति ते। न मां दुष्कृतिनो मूढाः प्रपद्यन्ते नराधमाः मायया परितज्ञानाः आसुरं भावमाश्रिताः। न मां दुष्कृतिनो मूढाः प्रपद्यन्ते नराधमाः मायया परितज्ञानाः आसुरं भावमाश्रिताः। चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मां जनाः सुकृतिनोऽर्जुन आर्थो जिज्ञासुरार्थी च आर्थो जिज्ञासुरर्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभ। चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मां जनाः सुकृतिनोऽर्जुन आर्थो जिज्ञासुरर्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभ। तेषां ज्ञानी नित्ययुक्त एकभक्तिर्विशिष्यते प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनोत्यर्थम् अहं स च मम प्रियः। तेषां ज्ञानी नित्ययुक्त एकभक्तिर्विशिष्यते प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनोत्यर्थम् अहं स च मम प्रियः। उदारा सर्व एवैते ज्ञानी त्वात्मैव मे मतम् आस्थितः स हि युक्तात्मा मामेवानुत्तमां गतिम्। उदाराः सर्व एवैते ज्ञानी त्वात्मैव मे मतम् आस्थितः स हि युक्तात्मा मामेवानुत्तमां गतिम्। Is Munmunji here? Before she catches me, yes, verse number 17 should have been Nitya Yuktaha. I chanted wrong. Tesham Jnani Nitya Yuktaha. Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Sir,
Hari
happy
Om,
New Year to
everybody.
everyone. Happy New Year.
Hari
Hari
Om,
Om
sir.
to everybody.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to all.
Hari
Hari
Om.
Om, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy Gregorian New Year. Let's start saying that.
Happy 2026.
Happy Gregorian New Year.
अच्छा ठीक है
The
ठीक है कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है नहीं
Hari Om.
आराम से प्रॉब्लम नहीं है
Okay. Okay. I was going to wish you guys a happy new year. I don't know what I was going to say, but that moment has
We
passed.
said it's Gregorian New Year. You are.
Both are, hey, happy Gregorian New Year, and my best wishes to all of you. And I personally don't know of a better way to start the year. I was very excited. I was telling my friends last night, how I'm going to begin my year. The thing I love doing the most. So, and I'm glad all of you have joined me in this yajna, in this Jnana Yajna. So, among other things, I know people are very fond of taking up resolutions and making tectonic shifts to their life. That's the symbolism of this day. Although we all know, having studied Vedanta, that shifts doesn't happen overnight, right? It's a slow and gradual process. So while we celebrate this day, let's not give it, let our sankalpa be deep and not sudden, right? Whatever sankalpa we take, let it come through a deep reflection, and then we may choose any day to sort of bring about a transformation in ourselves and work towards it. But that said, given that today holds that symbolism, I don't know what other sankalpas or resolutions you have taken, but take your time to think about the last couple of months of studying the scriptures, particularly in this class, and conceive a spiritual sankalpa. One sankalpa with which in this year you want to come closer to God, come closer to Vedanta, come closer to yourself, and keep it articulated very clearly. Let's not keep a very vague and a very abstract sankalpa. Let it be something very specific. When I say something specific, it may mean, okay, I want to learn 25 verses from chapter 1 to 3. I'm giving you an example. I keep saying, okay, memorize this first, memorize this first. Do we actually memorize? And there is a reason to memorize. There is a importance to memorize. So that could be a simple sankalpa. And that memorization of those 25 verses will take you far actually. It will not be just a sort of, ratta marna, as we say. It won't be just a commitment to memory, but it will be something that stays with you and then you recall. So something like that. Conceive for yourself what is achievable, what you can commit to, and try to fulfill that resolution sooner rather than later. Let's not wait the whole year to complete it. So pick up a simple goal which will complement your spiritual efforts, and let's work towards it. So with that thought, we'll start with questions. I can see some questions in the group, so we'll address those before we come to anything else. Okay, WhatsApp is acting funny. So Rashmi ji asked, okay, Rashmi ji didn't ask first. Did she ask? I can't see. Questions for verse number 11 to 13. According to verse 11, do we first need to develop our moral values before becoming a spiritual person? Where is this coming from in verse number 11?
Sir, please read the next line. It's written, these words are from the verse. Maximum work, minimum profit.
But okay, that is understandable. But where is this verse saying that you first need to develop your moral values becoming
Yeah,
a
they're saying
spiritual
dharma, na? So basically moral values would be.
You're equating dharma to moral values.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I understand from dharma abhi right now.
How can we do that in any business or organization? Okay. Number 2, in these verses, does Krishna imply that we get deluded by the peace in Sattva 2? Number 3 is Brahman. If from Brahman Maya arises, then the veil of ignorance should also be arising from the supreme reality. Is this true? Question number 3 is not from verse number 11 to 13. It's from verse number 14.
Only the first question is from verse 11.
No, but question number 3 is not from verse number 13. It's from verse number 14. He's not talked about Maya in verse number 13.
He's talking about the 3 gunas which are arising from Maya itself.
How do you know?
I know, I've read.
So you read ahead, no? It's coming to that in verse number 14. So question number 3, I'll take up later. Or I'll explain in verse number 14, and then you'll get an idea of we can see whether you still have that question or not. Okay. And then Balaji has some questions. Okay, we'll take up Balaji's questions later. Okay. Do we need to first develop our moral values before becoming a spiritual person? See, this is not two different things. Your moral values or your moral compass and your spiritual pursuit are not separate. You have translated dharma as moral values. Sure, your values are perhaps a starting point or the direction of dharma. No doubt about it. And since your question is simple, I'll keep the answer simple also. There's no point in talking about Atman and Brahman if you can't be a simple, honest, straightforward, unselfish person. Okay. So, if you think of it in terms of layers of a personality, who is a moral person? Now, I'm not talking about a moral person who gets obsessed with their morals and has like when we think of moral person, we think of someone who really emphasizes their morals and judges others for not holding their morals. That's not the kind of person I'm talking about, right? When I'm saying moral or dharma, if you think of it as layers, we have a Annamaya Kosha, we have a physical body, then we have an inner personality, right? And which we call the Antakaran. And the Antakaran is essentially the driver of the body, right? The body is the car, the vehicle, and the Antakaran is the driver. And deeper than the Antakaran is the Atma, right? So before reaching the Atma, you have to cross the Antakaran, as it were. If you think simply from if you visualize it in that sense. So being attuned to your Antakaran is very important in the journey. And attunement to your Antakaran means an establishment in certain values which are non-negotiable, right? Which you must uphold. These are values which will keep you on the path to your Atma, which will expedite your path to the Atma. And even if you keep the Atma aside, which will just help you live a good life as a good human being, right? So when you live according to dharma, you stay, um, you maintain a peace outside and you maintain a peace within, right? So your attunement to dharma is, if you're not attuned to dharma, then there's no point in talking about atma. It becomes not even lip service. When you live a dharmic life, the call for a deeper spiritual awakening will come naturally. So, but I'm a little uncomfortable with you reducing dharma to just moral values, because dharma is a lot more than that, and we've seen in the Bhagavad Gita. It's not just moral values. It's, say for example, objectivity is dharma. How will you call that a moral value? Seeing the world as it is. Detachment is dharma. That's not moral. In the way we use it in the world, no moral science class taught us detachment. Detachment is that sword with which you cut asunder all your entanglements. That's dharma. So, yes, if your question is dharma, yes, absolutely. Dharma is the way to become established in the spiritual path. That's the way to, for all practical purposes, live a spiritual life. You can call yourself a Hindu, but are you a Hindu? That's only you earn that badge only when you live a dharmic life. Not by joining this dal and that dal and claiming to, add the Lord's name in your, so it's your spiritual status is something that's earned and not just, and dharma is the way to earn that. Okay. In these verses, is Krishna implying that we get diluted by the peace and sattva too? Is Krishna saying only in him can we find true peace? So I'm assuming you're relating to verse number 13, where he says, deluded by these natures, deluded by the gunas, the world does not know me as above them and immutable. Do we get deluded by the peace of sattva too? Eventually, yes. Eventually, even sattva and the sattva creates a very subtle attachment. Imagine when everything is amazing. When everything is amazing, you don't want anything else, right? So sattva creates an environment where all is good, all is measured, all is balanced, right? And that creates its own kind of delusion, where that creates its own retardation on the spiritual journey, on the journey to awakening, as it were. So, but for all practical purposes, even if we get to a sattvic state of being, it's a great place to be. High state of evolution. So for all practical purposes, focus on the delusion of tamas and rajas, right? The delusion of tamas is I know. The delusion of rajas is running around without a direction. Mindless seeking is the delusion of rajas. I need it, I want it. I can't do without it, right? So focus on getting over the delusion of tamas and rajas. And the delusion of sattva, while it is there, it just requires a nod. He says the delusion of sattva is like smoke created by a fire. The smoke created by fire, no doubt, is a distraction, is an annoyance. But it just takes a small breeze to just move it away. It doesn't require much effort, right? So don't worry about the delusion of sattva, is what we're saying. Eventually you'll realize that not something to be worried about. Um, is Krishna saying only in him we can find true peace? Yes, the ultimate peace we can only find with him, but nobody wants the ultimate peace. Everybody's happy with a slightly lesser peace. So, but the truth remains that yes, the ultimate state of samadhi can only be found, by transcending the gunas. If from Brahman, okay, I'll address this question later. Then Maniji, then Balaji asks, please clarify: is the Atman is the substratum of the waking deep sleep, dream and deep sleep? From this standpoint, there is no separate fourth state because the same Atman underlies all three. Balaji, are you here? Only if you are here will I take up this question. I don't see you. Okay. If you're here, let me know. I don't see you. Okay. He's not here, I don't think. We'll take it up when he's here. Or maybe I'll just clarify with him privately. Yes, Ankit, question. Now Ankit has changed his name from Ankit and Prachi to Ankit. Because he's saying I'm only asking the questions.
We're using a different device today.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure. I think you might have missed one of Rashmiji's question before I asked my question.
So the third one we will take up later.
No,
Because
about maximum work, minimum.
maximum work, minimum effort, minimum profit. So that is a dharma. The dharma is emphasis on karma, not on phala. Right? So maximum work, minimum profit doesn't mean you don't want profit. It means the worry or the importance. What is the weightage given? The weightage is given to the work, not to the outcome. Profit is the outcome. Of course, we all want profit. He's not saying work for free. See, on the other hand, think of it this way: when everything is about profit, you have some of these documentaries which show pharmaceutical companies in the US. Now, I don't know if they are true or to what extent, some of these documentaries also show a lot of propaganda. But some of these pharmaceutical companies, they make certain prices of certain, life-saving drugs so expensive. Or they create, there's one show on Netflix which talks about, certain kind of medicine which is given to, even in pain, it is still prescribed. I don't know if it is it, I think it's an opioid only. I forget the technical name for it or the chemical name for it. Anyone know what I'm talking about? That opioid which creates massive addiction, crazy addiction.
Nicotine.
Huh?
Vicodin.
Sorry, right? Nicotine.
Vicodin.
Vicodin, right? Something like that. One of these things. And there they showed how the that drug, which should be used only in extreme cases, extreme trauma cases where there is tremendous pain, was beginning to be prescribed through a nexus of through a collusion between the pharmaceutical company and the doctors to even normal cases, wherein just for slight issues you were prescribed this, and then you slowly developed a habit and a strong addiction for it, and that kept you buying more and more of this. You needed it for your lifestyle rather than for any extreme situation. So that's a clear case where you're emphasizing maximum profit. What I'm saying is when the weightage falls on the outcome, you go to any means to meet that outcome and exceed that outcome. That is clearly adharmic. Whereas when you focus on the work that needs to be done, the outcome is natural, and you'll get the right outcome and more than you could have imagined when you focus on maximum work. So it is dharmic to focus on the work. It is adharmic to take shortcuts or manipulate just to maximize the outcome. And that outcome is also short-lived. It won't really last. You know, the share prices of that company fell like 90% because of this crisis, because of this was actually caught. So eventually the outcome, also the maximum profit you hope for through your manipulation and through your, the various sort of Lakshman rekhas you cross, they are short-lived, and they actually, fall flat on the face. So maximum work, minimum profit. The emphasis is, the obsession with the outcome is minimum, and the focus on the work is maximum. That's the principle. How do you apply it in your life? You'll apply it when you understand that when you focus only on the outcome, you compromise the action, and even the outcome is short-lived. So it's actually it's something that it defeats the purpose. Focusing on the outcome defeats the purpose. You won't actually get the sort of long-standing outcome you wish for. To build an organization, when you focus on the building blocks, the success of the organization is guaranteed. When you focus on enabling people rather than squeezing and short-term profits, that's a guaranteed way to ensure attrition in your organization. That's a guaranteed way to ensure people leave, people don't want to work with you. That's a guaranteed way to ensure that your customers are not happy with your service. Yes, Ankit.
So in the last class, you spoke of detachment, and you sort of defined it as like freedom from mindness and having like objectivity. So just this concept of freedom from mindness, for example, you could be relatively detached in that you don't really sort of identify with your material possessions or something, but there might be people amongst your friends and family who, like, might be sort of careless or sort of irresponsible people, and then they sort of ask you for, say, they want to borrow money from you or borrow something from you, and you don't want to give it to them because they are either not going to return it back on time, or they'll like sort of return your thing like damaged or something. So then, like, that sort of mindness or defensiveness, possessiveness about the object comes in. So I know, like, doesn't mean that you give away your thing, but yeah, then how do you like sort of resolve this within yourself as well, not feel petty about it or something?
If you're not giving because you know that you won't get it back,
You probably think you won't get it back, or
well,
not
for
get
all
it back.
practical purposes, let's be clear. He's not paid back 20 of his other, debtors. Why will he pay you back? He's not paid back 20 other loans. What makes you think that he'll pay your money back? Habitual financial offenders, sort of, they don't. That said, look, Shakespeare said, neither a borrower nor a lender be. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. That doesn't mean you don't lend to people or you don't borrow from people. He said, live in a way where you don't need to borrow. So live within your means. Right? Because otherwise it's an endless pit. Right? I'm not talking about sort of strategic loans you take for a certain sort of business outcome, where of course the loan you take is also, the risk against the loan is weighted, and tomorrow if everything falls flat, you will be in a position to pay back the loan. But a lot of people take the loan as a way to, they know that they'll never be able to pay it back, or they have no intent to pay it back, right? That kind of borrowing, or borrowing in a way where the failure of a venture will mean there's absolutely no way in which you can sort of pay back your debt, right? So don't be a borrower in that sense, nor a lender be, right? That doesn't mean you don't help others when they need it, particularly those to whom you have some obligation or you have some association, you know. But first of all, when you give something to someone, the worst case scenario, you must assume that you're not getting it back. It's a gift you have given, right? If you have the capacity to give that, right? Or the guidance of, say, even if you take the Bhagavad Gita, for example, Deshe Kale Cha Patre Cha. Give it to the right person at the right time, in the right means, in the right way, with absolute straightforwardness. With the intent of helping them. So assess that, okay, will giving the money actually help them? Or can I give it in a way that will ensure that there is some material benefit out of it? Say, for example, I know someone right now whose family member is a habitual offender, and they've taken multiple times, they've taken some help from them, and a lot of money has been given also, and now they are in a certain crisis where a big chunk was required. So they came to me to clarify something, and we discussed, and of course, they had a certain idea, and I only reinforced that idea. They didn't give money just like that. They took an asset against it. They didn't just give him money as a, one person didn't give their sort of family member just money like that. They took an asset against it. Not with the idea that, my money is safe, my money won't be drowned because the asset will appreciate. Not with any of those things. But because, you want to make the other person feel that, what they are receiving actually has some value. They have paid for it, not only that, I also asked them that, okay, if you're giving this money against an asset, you're not just giving it to take the asset from them. You must be firm. You must take the position of of someone who is more powerful than them, and you must ask them for proof that, okay, what are you doing with this money? You're taking this money to pay back the loan. You must actually pay back the loan. You must actually use it for its intended sort of outcome. So being firm and being aggressive is very important, because we are focused on aggressive goodness. If out of our own greed, what will happen to my money? I won't get it back. That's not aggressive goodness. That is actually attachment to, as you rightly said, it's your own attachment to your wealth that is stopping you from sort of helping another. We're not saying give everything you have, but if you decided, okay, within a certain means you can help someone, your intention should be helping in a way that will actually meet the intended outcome. Because they are coming to you for help because they can't help themselves. They are prone to making wrong choices. So the onus is now on you to ensure that, okay, let's work this out in a way that is actually going to be fruitful. And all of this, you're taking the headache because you have an obligation to them. They are an associate. You automatically have an obligation to your near and dear ones. It's just how nature has designed it. Nature has thrown you into this family. And the more stable you are, the more others will seek you out. That's just the way it is, right? So if you don't give out of a fear of, it won't be recovered, then don't give. That's attachment. give how much ever you are willing to part with. Or at least not see recovered for some time, because no crisis is just very straightforward. Sometimes when you help another person, it's because the pit is deeper than you can imagine, or deeper than what they're revealing to you. So only when you're you're willing to see that sort of there are all these considerations, but the intention should be deshe kale cha patre cha, in the right place at the right time in the right way, aggressively. Yeah. Does that answer your
Yeah, it does answer my question, but if I can just follow up and say, then how does it, stop people from sort of taking advantage of you? Like, say there might be something like this laptop. I'm using it for 5 hours a day, and there's some person who's like, okay, they're not going to buy a laptop, or they'll come and ask you for it all the time because they know, okay, you are using it from 12 to 5. I can very easily use it from 6 to 12 or something, and yeah, probably not keep it in the best condition or something like. So how do you keep someone from, so in that circumstance, you are not really using it or something, but you want to set a boundary as well, right? That okay, so yeah,
So that's why,
something.
to set boundaries, you have to be very articulate. You have to be very straightforward. We try to beat around the bush because we don't want to address the elephant in the room.
Hmm.
Oh, that's awkward.
Addressing the elephant in the room, yeah, it's awkward. उनको कैसे लगेगा? How do I actually say it?
Yeah.
So with the fear of being misunderstood, we don't even address the elephant in the room. But that addressing the elephant in the room is not selfish. Calling out, okay, what is needed for all practical purposes is not selfish. It's not attachment. I need this laptop for XYZ reasons. Right? That's not attachment to the laptop. It's a certain need which has been clearly identified for a certain purpose. Right? But either others don't understand the need and they try to say, oh, you can use it for X. I mean, I'm just following up your example. So
Yeah.
being articulate and articulating your need is not attachment. Please learn to do that. It's absolutely necessary to get along with anyone, especially your near and dear ones. It's very easy to be peaceful with strangers because you don't have to get into these uncomfortable conversations with them. With only your near and dear ones, you have to talk about the uncomfortable stuff. Money matters, obligations, duties, family matters, emotional matters. And that's why conflicts arise, because people are not able to address them properly. Because they haven't put in the right amount of thought to distinguish between attachment and obligation, to distinguish between need and possessiveness. It's a khichdi, it's all a khichdi. But when you do that, you'll make the right choices, you'll take the right steps. Okay. If there are no other questions, we will proceed with verse number 13. We kind of rushed it yesterday, but let's take a quick recap of what he's talked about in this chapter. In this chapter, he said, okay, to know Brahman, let's start from the gross to the subtle. So he's talked about 2 levels, a para prakriti and an apara prakriti. To know me, first know that this entire world is a combination of spirit plus matter. Spirit is unmanifest, hidden in the shadows. Matter is manifest. Matter is superimposed upon spirit like a snake is superimposed upon a rope. Spirit plus matter he calls apara prakriti. Spirit plus matter he has called apara prakriti. So he said the mind, the intellect, the panchabhutas, they're all apara. Beyond apara prakriti, beyond matter, only spirit is para prakriti, is my higher nature or my true nature. So Brahman, God, is the spirit. Matter superimposed upon spirit is the world. When you go beyond matter, you reach the spirit. That's the language he's used in so far. So what is matter? Matter is composed of gunas. The apara prakriti is composed upon gunas, composed of gunas. That's how you know, you identify, that's how it's manifest. You find it extremely hard to explain what is the spirit because it is unmanifest, it is gunatita, it has no gunas. But it's very easy to talk about matter. The intellect, the body is large or small, tall or short, fair or dark. The body is strong or weak. It's easy to talk about the body. The mind is happy or sad. The mind is noble or ignoble. The mind is kind or cruel. It's easy to talk about the mind. The intellect is sharp or dull. The intellect is subtle or gross. It's easy to talk about, relatively easy to talk about the intellect. Why? Because these are all gunas. They all are composed of gunas, or they are all identified by gunas. So whenever you are describing or talking about anything or anyone, please remember what you are talking about, what you are describing, what you are trying to convey is only and only about their gunas, only about their matter, material equipments. When I talk about someone, whether they are kind or whether they are cruel, whether they are nice or whether they are not nice, whether they are handsome or whether they are not handsome, I'm only simply talking about attributes of their physical body, attributes of their mind, attributes of their intellect, gunas. That's all I see. A spiritual person, a jnani, is one who can x-ray through these gunas and identify that the same pulsating force, that unmanifest, pulsating, enlivening principle, the Atman, resides in them. That same pulsating force resides in me, the spirit. Beyond the material equipment, beyond the apara, the para prakriti. The spirit in you is the spirit in me, is that spirit which is upholding and supporting this entire manifest world. But so long as we don't reach that state of jnanam, we are deluded. We are only focused on matter. Little do we know that matter does not matter. Matter will manifest and become unmanifest. This body will rise and this body will fall. Matter will change, for the good or for the worse. Matter will go through transformations. Matter will become rajasic and then sattvic, and then again, if you become complacent, you'll fall to rajas and then again to tamas. Matter is subject to change either because of circumstance or because of complacency. But the entire world is only focused on the gunas, deluded by the gunas, deluded by the natures composed of the three gunas. All this world, the entire world, is only focused on these gunas, does not know me. Me matlab the spirit. Above them, beyond them, immutable. मोल करो तलवार का पड़े रहने दो म्यान, says Kabira. मोल करो तलवार का पड़े रहने दो म्यान. म्यान जो है वो तलवार के ऊपर एक कवरिंग है. म्यान मतलब तलवार, you understand, is a sword. Myan is the cover for that sword. If any of you have been silversmiths or some metal workers in your past lives, you all will know. that the sharpness of the sword is very important. So that the sharpness of the sword is not compromised, so that the sword doesn't become dull, the covering of the sword must not touch the sword. It must cover it, but it must not touch it. So the myan, the covering of the sword, actually, even though it covers it, it is separate and distinct from it. So Kabira compares that myan and the talwar to the matter and spirit. Matter is the myan, matter is the covering, but distinct and different from it is the talwar, is the spirit. Mol karo talwar ka. Focus on the spirit. See the spirit in others. Pade rehne do myan. Leave the matter. Go beyond the matter. Distinct and different from matter is the spirit. Do you have that X-ray vision with which you can see through the material layers? And how do you start? You don't start by going directly to the spirit. First of all, can you see through someone's material status and see their physical or their emotional being? Beyond the material, here we don't have just one myan, we have several myans, we have several layers. Beyond their material is their physical, beyond their physical is their emotional, beyond their emotional is their intellectual. Are you able to appreciate and identify with the emotional state, regardless of who a person is materially? Regardless of whether they're rich or poor, can you identify with their emotion? Can you identify with their... Yesterday was New Year's. I was outside at 12 o'clock at a party. I'm confessing, I also party. Now, this is not greatness, okay? Don't get me wrong, but I'm only conveying my experience to you. At 12 o'clock, I couldn't help but think about all the waiters and the servers and the people who are coordinating and the policemen downstairs who are making sure that everything is amiss. Here I am celebrating New Year's and doing hoo hoo ha ha, looking at all the fireworks. What are these people doing? Now you can't ensure that, okay, they should also be with their families. The least you can do is make them a part of your celebration. As you're wishing your family members or your friends Happy New Year, immediately wish them also Happy New Year. It's New Year for them also. What is that? That's connecting with someone emotionally, regardless of who they are. Can you identify, can you connect with someone intellectually? Rarely do people connect intellectually. We're all stuck at a material level, we're all stuck at a physical level, we're all stuck at the level, at a cultural level, as we say. So long as people look like us and have the same habits as us or have the same cultural habits as us, we sort of identify with them. But it becomes very awkward when you make a Punjabi sit with a Malayali. I know, because I have Punjabis in my family and Malayalis in my family. Can you look beyond the Punjabi and the Malayali and the American and the Asian and identify with someone's experience? So that is an example of going deeper. That's an example of X-raying through the physical and meeting the non-physical. Beyond the non-physical, can you identify with the spirit? That's spiritual. So don't get deluded by the gross. Learn to look beyond the gross and reach the subtle. Reach what is beyond the gross, above it and immutable, unchanging. The spirit is unchanging, as we said in the last class. Okay, verse number 14. Daivi yesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya me tam tarantite. Daivi yesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya me tam tarantite. Verily, this divine illusion of mine, made of gunas, is difficult to cross over. Those who seek me alone cross over this illusion. Verily, this divine illusion of mine made of gunas. So he's giving it a name, he's calling it Maya, Mama Maya. This delusion of the gunas arises because of Maya. Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. Spirit alone exists. Matter is a superimposition upon spirit, just as the snake is a superimposition upon the rope. When we say matter does not matter, we mean it. Why? Because it's like the snake. It does not matter. It's your imagination. How do you know how a other person actually is? You're only going by your limited assessment at max. Keeping aside your preconceived notion and meeting someone with a clean slate, it's very beautiful. Get into that habit. Otherwise, we are deluded by what we think about another, what we expect about another. This is a Maya. Spirit plus matter is this world. This matter is an imposition, superimposition upon spirit, just as a snake is a superimposition upon the rope. This is a Maya. He calls it a divine Maya, Daivi. It's a divine illusion. This divine illusion of mine. Divine illusion. Why is it a divine illusion? Because it is from divinity, as it were. This is called a transferred epithet. Transferred epithet means you are qualifying something with a certain adjective because of a certain relation. The divinity comes from the divine. Because the illusion comes from the divine, you're calling it a divine illusion. Because God is saying, I create this illusion, the illusion becomes divine. Because God says, I am creating this illusion, automatically it becomes a divine illusion. There's nothing about the illusion that is divine, but because God is creating this illusion, it's called a divine illusion. So, this divine illusion of mine, made of gunas. It's a very interesting thing he says. That this Maya, this sort of imagination is also created by me. I remember he's speaking as the Lord to a devotee. That's why he's using phrases like me, mine, right? Similarly, if a Jnani would read this, they would say, oh, the Atman creates the illusion. The Atman itself creates this illusion. Now we almost come to think of, okay, then why should the Atman create the illusion? Why has this happened in the first place? But you can't, but that's the nature of an illusion. You know, it doesn't happen with a reason. It happens because of a misconception. There need not be a purpose behind seeing something different from what it is. See, if you see there and you mistaken something as something else, if you mistaken a small piece of rock for an animal, you're trying to see far. It's not because you have any desire or any intention to see it other than what it is. It is just because of certain circumstances that you're seeing something apart from what it actually is. If you mistake a rope for a snake, it's not because you want to mistake it for a snake or there's some purpose behind it. Because of the circumstances, the mistaking just happens. So when he says divine illusion of mine, he's not saying because I want to create an illusion, I am causing it to happen. Because of the circumstances, this illusion happens. And I am the one that is deluded. What does that mean? It means that the Atman is deluded. The Atman is in this illusion. You are the Atman. And you are in this illusion. So it's your illusion. It's a divine illusion of mine. It's your illusion. It's the Atman's illusion. And what is the illusion? That I am the snake. I am not the rope. I am this material equipment. I am this ego. That is the illusion. So this divine illusion, this divine misconception of mine, God's illusion, the Atman's illusion, is the misconception that I am matter. Now, a devotee will not appreciate Atman being deluded and imagining itself as matter. So the devotee is told, okay, as a jnani we know Atman equals Brahman equals God. But for a bhakta, he says, it's my illusion. Because they don't understand Atman, they only understand God. So this divine illusion of mine, made of gunas. What is the illusion? The illusion that I am matter. I am this ego. And this ego, this matter, is nothing but a combination of gunas, an expression of a variety of gunas. This distinction, this separation, this plurality is happening because of gunas. Verily, it is very difficult to cross over. No doubt, I understand, O Arjuna. Once you are stuck in this illusion, it's very difficult to come out of it. Once you see something different from what it is, it's quite difficult to come out of it. You need to be supported, you need to be guided, you need a guru to help you, to show you, oh, there is actually something different. Otherwise, you remain blissfully unaware that you're actually seeing something in the wrong way. You're actually seeing something apart from what it is. So it's difficult to cross over. This delusion of the gunas, it's very difficult to make someone see beyond the gunas. Only those who seek me, alone cross over this illusion. To a devotee, he's saying, only those who seek the Lord alone cross over this illusion. Similarly, a jnani will say, only those who seek the Atman alone, only those who put their spiritual work, their spiritual effort as the most important, as the paramount purpose of their life, only those who seek the Atman alone cross over this illusion. What he's trying to say is that all this thing about Maya and all of this is not a cocktail conversation. It's not something to be casually had, to maintain a basic jigyasa over. If you truly and sincerely want to work on this, it requires your dedication. Those who seek me alone, he's used the word alone, eva, mam eva. Later in chapter 9, verse number 22, he's going to say, Ananya Chinta. No other chinta, no other thought, no other preoccupation. If you thought bhakti was easy, no, it's not. Ananya Chinta, no other thought. If you want to come down the bhakti marga, the Lord is very demanding. I will not allow you to think of anything else. It's like a partner saying to another, don't even think about the other person. I'll consider that as cheating. Huh? See, in the realm of bhakti, we have to talk emotion. Ananya Chinta, no other thought allowed. Even thought is cheating. Think of me alone. That's the only way to cross over this. Mameva, Ananya Chinta. 100 बातों की एक बात, ये जो हम मजाक में कहते हैं, ये सब तो मोह माया है. Which is why these things shouldn't be joked about. Or if people are joking about it, let it remain a joke. Don't waste your time getting into a serious conversation with someone else who's not taking the subject seriously. Don't waste your energy. And for those of you who want to take the subject seriously, it requires your dedicated effort. Which is why we don't waste time talking about abstract things which we are not ready to discuss yet. We talk about what is relevant for us today because it's a marathon. It's a long journey where we have to gradually grow. One thing is to understand these concepts intellectually, but we are not only interested in intellectual understanding. We are focused on what you need today to take the next step ahead, then to take the next step ahead, to take the next step ahead. Only when you go step by step will you be slowly able to cross over this divine illusion. You yourself are divine. See, when we think of divine, we think, oh, Bhagavan divine hai, hum to divine nahi hai. No, you yourself are divine. And this is your illusion. This is your divine illusion. You are God playing the fool. You are divinity in disguise. You are God playing the fool, said Emerson. And it's not because you want to become deluded. It's not because you want. It's just a misconception. It's just happened because of avidya, because of ignorance. Bring back knowledge and things will become clear. Slowly, slowly, gradually, things will unfold. With that thought, we'll conclude today. I saw there was a hand up. So if that question is still there, I can take that question. Rashmi ji had a question. If Brahman arises, if from Brahman Maya arises, then the veil of ignorance will also be arising from the Supreme Reality. Yes, that's precisely what it is. Supreme Reality is Brahman. Maya is avidya, ignorance. So they are one and the same. Maya or ignorance is arising from Brahman, the Supreme Reality. Just as a snake is arising from a rope. Not because the rope wants to create a snake, not because Brahman wants to create ignorance, but because of the circumstances, this illusion is happening. Now, while in the illusion, you can't ask, okay, why is it happening? What made it happen? It's beyond your intellect's capacity to understand, okay, why did it happen? Particularly while you're in it. Particularly while you're seeing something as apart from what it actually is. It's almost impossible to understand why it's happened. Which is why Vedanta says after a point, don't intellectualize it. This is the prescription. Yoga, Vairagya, Dharana, Dhyana. This is the prescription. Yoga, Vairagya, Dharana, Dhyana. If you want to follow Ashtanga, there's Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharan, Dhyana. Ultimately, the eighth limb is Samadhi. The conclusion is Samadhi. In Samadhi, everything will become clear. All your questions will be answered. Why did it happen? So if you're serious about this, you'll take this step gradually. You'll bring Yam and Niyam into your life. You'll be conscious of what you think, what you do, what you say, what you feel. You'll bring Dharma into your life. How you do, with what intention you do. Without that, none of this entire journey has any foundation. This is the foundation of the journey. So with the aim and hope of crossing over this divine illusion, we start this new year with a resounding conviction. Yes, with that conviction, take up a small sankalpa.
One question.
Yes, a small sankalpa, take up a small sankalpa that will help you on this journey. Let me know, you can share your sankalpa with me and we can make it a little secret that we work on.
Also, Bala is there.
One thing I wanted to ask. What seeing Brahman in people who are matching with your gunas are simple. It's easier. But seeing Brahman in people who you feel are selfish are around you, you have to deal with them irresponsible.
No, you're not seeing Brahman in those who you
You
like.
can't see. It's so difficult to see. Like
No, but what I'm trying to say is you said it's simple to see Brahman in those who you like. No, what you're seeing
it's
is those
simpler.
gunas.
Yeah.
No, what you're seeing is those gunas. And you're saying, I like these gunas. They're very nice. They're very good people.
Yeah.
Such nice people, such God loving people, such God fearing people. Look, they wake up in the morning and they have such a sattvic lifestyle. What you're seeing is gunas, and what you're appreciating is gunas. Who said you're seeing Brahman? We see gunas which we like and we put it on a pedestal.
True.
We see gunas which we don't like and bury it in the ground, place it under our feet, criticize it. So when you're seeing someone you like, it's not that you're seeing God in them. You're thinking that is God,
Yeah.
right? So seeing Brahman is not the same as seeing good gunas. The Lord Himself says, I am in between the two armies. Senayor bhayor madhye. I'm gambler in the gambling. He'll say in the next chapter. Among the vices, I'm gambling. Can you see Brahman in a gambler? So when you are appreciating someone you like, or when you're feeling light in their presence, you're not seeing Brahman. It's just your own mental bias making you feel divine, but that's not divinity. Balaji, you're here? Yeah, someone said you're here.
I saw it on the chat.
Okay.
He was there. I think he's gone with a different name.
With a different name. Okay. That's okay. Any other questions? Yes, Chetna ji.
We discussed today that matter is just an imposition on the Brahman as the snake is on the as the snake is on the rope. This implies that matter is not there only; it's just happening. But on the other hand, we say that matter is insentient. Only Brahman makes it alive. So is it this, the second one implies that matter is there but dead without Brahman. So is it catering to two different sets of people who are at different levels of learning, or what?
Beautiful question. And the moment you become, I can see that if you become comfortable in holding these two perspectives together, that is growth, right? So I'm very happy to hear this question. From a Jnani's perspective, this is a very pertinent thing. No, it is not talking about two different levels of seekers, right? I think both are appealing to the same person, trying to convey two different facets of experience, or two different facets of the philosophy, right? Because as we've often said, one example or one metaphor doesn't convey the entire sort of subtle concept, right? So let's take the second one first. The second one is matter is insentient, Brahman is the enlivening principle. See the entire spectrum of inquiry from the perspective of known to unknown. Okay, see it from the spectrum of known to unknown. So we're on this end of the spectrum when we are dealing with what is known. When we're dealing with what is known, when we're dealing with what is seen, when we're dealing with what is experienced, our question is, where is God? Where is God? in what is experienced around us. Is God in this piece of wood? Is God this piece of wood, first of all? We say, yes, God is this piece of wood. Then you may think, oh, everything that looks like wood is God. No, 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 no. God is not particularly this piece of wood. God is within this piece of wood. Oh, so are you saying God is only within pieces of wood? Oh, no, no, no. God is in everything. It is the Aadhaar of everything. So you see, we've graduated from God is this to God is the substratum, the Aadhaar of everything. Right? We've carried you from where you are currently, from what you perceive, to a concept which you can't exactly perceive, but we've connected the dots. Right? So God is the substratum of everything. Without the substratum, nothing can exist. Sat. Sat happens only when there is an Aadhaar, when there is a supporting principle. That supporting principle we also call an enlivening principle, right? It supports it to exist, it supports it to function. Everything that exists has a certain function based on its guna. The guna itself is insentient or doesn't have a function per se, but the Aadhaar which is supporting it allows it to exist and gives it the ability to function. So then we begin to think, oh, this is it. That means this is the entire reality, which means, oh, there must be a reason why all of this is happening. This has happened because the Aadhaar wants to create the world, or there is some purpose, we should go and ask God, what is the purpose of this world? Has it actually, what came before, what will come after? All those questions are natural to arise. Why is this existence there in the first place? Why are things created in the first place? When you give this explanation that, oh, Brahman or God is the Aadhaar, is the substratum, and everything is superimposed upon it, and everything is functioning according to its nature, but enlivened by the enlivening principle. If this is the sum total of the explanation given, then naturally in you the question will arise, why is all of this happening? What happened before it? Why does something have the certain kind of gunas that it has? And of course, there are several concepts to explain. We bring about reincarnation, we bring about all sorts of, the law of karma, we bring about all sorts of explanations as to why things are happening. But the ultimate truth to someone who's ready to listen, and that's when we give out that first concept which you talked about. That's when we said, actually, this Aadhaar and this sort of things existing on top of it, all of this is just a concept. For you to make sense of what you are experiencing, for you to not completely go crazy, for you to completely not, for you to give an explanation to your day-to-day life. But if you are ready to listen, if you're willing to actually know the deepest truth is that this is an illusion. What you're actually seeing, what you're actually experiencing is a divine illusion. Life is a dream. No more real than the dream you just woke up from. But the funny thing is, while you were in the dream, you were completely immersed in the reality of it. Just as a dreamer, you were dreaming that there was a dream world, and a dream husband, and a dream wife, and a dream kids, and a dream business, and a dream this, and a dream that, and a dream guru, and a dream ashram, and a dream whatever. Right now you are dreaming as a waker. This is the waking dream. How do I know this is right? I can't explain it. You have to experience it. You have to shut off all external thoughts and meditate upon this. Empty yourself, and the truth will be revealed to you. So that's the path that Vedanta takes us on. It starts from the known and it brings us to the edge of the unknown. And thereafter it says that, look, this is only as far as concepts can take you. Whatever we are trying to convey, the sages have brought about this explanation only through their own experience. So if you're not ready to experience, don't worry about it. Live with these explanations. But if you're ready to experience, then that's the path of sannyas. That's when you know, okay, I don't want to know anything else. This is what I want to realize. This is the burning question that I need to address in my life. Right? Which is why we don't talk about Maya and illusion that much. I'm very honestly admitting out here. We don't talk about it so much. Because at the heart of it, it's quite unsettling and we must not unsettle. Yes, we must poke you. We must urge you to think, but we must not unsettle you. Because when you're ready to listen, that's when we will talk about it more and more. Right? But this is the spectrum of these concepts. So in a way, yes, these are given to two different levels of seekers, as you rightly said. They're given to these explanations are given to two different levels of seekers. Those who are ready to listen to the ultimate truth. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. Life is a dream. Until and unless you can wake up from it while you are here, be merry.
You'll be merrier when you wake up, actually. You'll be merry. Thank you. I think I got my answer. Thank you.
Yeah. With that thought, thank you so much. Hari Om, and we'll see you next week.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om Ji.
Hari Om, sir.
Thank you.
Hari
A very,
Om.
very
Hari
happy
Om.
New Year to
Happy
everybody.
New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
May it be more insightful for all of us.
Yes.